Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final session of Best Practices in Social Emotional Arts, part of our inaugural Midweek Mastery Series. I'm Heidi Parker, pronouns she, her, Community Initiatives Manager here at the Arts and Healing Initiative, and I am your Zoom host today. This series highlights our online certificate program in Social Emotional Arts, a 60-hour online training maximizing the social emotional benefits of arts experiences in the disciplines of art, dance movement, drumming, music, poetry writing, and theater. We developed the Midweek Mastery Series in response to feedback from our community, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and overall experience in the post-session survey. Today's program is in a meeting format, so please keep yourself muted until prompted otherwise. We are recording today's session in speaker view to be shared on our YouTube channel, and you are welcome to leave your camera on as you feel comfortable. We'd love for you to actively participate. Our session today is scheduled for 1 hour. Feel free to add questions in the chat as they arise or use the raise hand function. Before we begin, we would like to start by acknowledging the Tongva Nation, on whose land the city of Los Angeles, where we are based, rests today. We hold respect and gratitude for the Tongva people who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. By their example, we are reminded of our responsibility to our planet and to one another. Let's take a moment in our own way to honor the Indigenous communities of past and present on whose land you are joining from today. And feel free to honor the communities where you are joining from in the chat. I will now turn it over to Ping Ho, our founder director, to provide a roadmap for our journey together today and to introduce our instructors.
Hello, everybody. This will be an experiential professional development process. So please note during the session what encourages you to participate and what makes you feel resilient or connected. Many of us experience resistance to arts participation due to lingering self-judgment from earlier life experiences or residual beliefs that there's a right way to express oneself creatively. In order to derive the maximum benefits of being seen and heard through the arts, we need to maximize the supportiveness of the process. Today's team will present their culminating project in our certificate program in social emotional arts and will explain the context of their session at the top. So here are some things to observe during the session. One would be any expression of vulnerability. For example, a presenter saying that they need self-care. Community agreements to create a comfortable space for sharing and reminders of them. Encouragement to honor your personal needs and preferences. Clarity of intentions for the activities. Offering options for participation. Demonstrating or modeling activities. Warm-ups with accessible sharing. Reminders to focus on process and not product. Normalizing and validation of feelings regardless of what they are. Checking in and inviting inquiry. Inclusiveness. Non-judgmental language throughout the session. Supportive teamwork. And any benefits of the activities themselves for resilience and connection. I'll now pass the baton to our presenters. Alexis Anderson is a social emotional arts facilitator trained through Arts and Healing Initiative's certificate program in social emotional arts. And she's also a certified biblical counselor with a passion to create spaces of inclusion and acceptance using creative expression as a means of healing both individuals and communities. Bridget McKevitt earned her Master's in Fine Arts in Acting from University of Washington in Seattle and is committed to developing tools to help creatives grow and achieve success in their craft. She completed the certificate program in social emotional arts with Arts and Healing Initiative and is currently working with Michael's Daughter Foundation. developing and facilitating filmmaking workshops for Los Angeles teens and young adults in schools, hospitals, and institutions. She's concurrently attending UCLA to train in substance use disorder counseling. So they will both begin by briefly explaining the goals of this session. Take it away, Bridget and Alexis.
You're muted, Alexis.
So it started really professional, but also very human. My name is Alexis. My pronouns are she, her. I am super excited to be here with you today. I have a script just in case I needed it. And I wanted to let you know that we will be introducing the Unshakable Foundation of Self workshop that we created for the end of our program that was really, truly wonderful. And I will be guiding you through the opener today and also through some breathing and just kind of setting the stage. I'm also going to be monitoring the chat, and I will let you all know that is not a strong suit of mine, but we're down one team member, and when we're down one, we just all jump in where we can. So if I miss something that is really important, please feel free to raise a hand or anything that you need to do to make sure that I get your attention, because I'm really doing my best, you guys, just like we all are. And then Bridget.
Thanks, Alexis. Hi, everybody. I'm Bridget McKevitt. I'm really glad to be here, and I'm stoked that you are too. I will conduct our main activity today, which is inspired by my many years of studying the actor and how they train. Actors are taught to prepare, but not to repair. And so this activity is meant to bring the show to a close, or the end of the run to a close, just like the end of our day, the end of our week, our month, even our year. And sort of, it is actual self-defense. Self is defense, is how I understand it. And so this is really a strategy to make sure that the actor is feeling safe and grounded when they leave the stage door and walk into a dark alley. Bartenders, servers, everyone in the hospitality industry does the same thing. We leave late at night and we don't get ourselves set and grounded first. And yeah, this is what I think can do the trick anyway. And, Alexis.
Sorry, Bridget. In the process of preparing for not just presenting this originally, but also presenting it again, we've come to realize that it is not just actors who put on a role in everything that they do, that we all do that from day to day. And that's not to say that we choose to be somebody different than we actually are. It is a very faceted part of living in this world. And so if you're a CEO, if you're a social worker, if you are a parent, if you are insert anything that you have to do that requires wearing different hats, it's easy to become just that part of who you are and have a difficult time transitioning from that role into a more fully embodied self as you go about the rest of your day, as you connect with your families, or just going home and having a quiet moment and realizing that you are more than the roles that you put on that day, and bringing all of those things together. So what started out originally as geared towards actors, we've realized is geared toward human beings who walk around every day and live in this world. So we've already gone into the chat today and talked about how we regulate ourselves, or how we calm down after a stressful day or situation. A lot of walking, a lot of outdoors, some really yummy snacks, which sounds so good. I want them all. And I love, somebody said they snuggle with their dog. That one is a big one for me. Yeah. I think sometimes that my dog saved my life through some of the worst parts and the most difficult times, and really reminded me to be a human. I am someone who gets a comfort show and I have it memorized at this point. But once those friends are on the screen, we're all in this together. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm going to bring us back to where we go. Originally, as I said, this when we were envisioning this program, this would be a 5-week program that goes along with tech rehearsals for a college or university theater program. And we're going to bring you into what would be our last session, would be session 5 with our participants. And so when I am speaking to you, we have already done 4 weeks of this together. So we are all on the same page. And I invite you to just enter into that space and we will go from there. I think that is everything that I needed to say about what we were going to do and how we got here. And so now I'm just going to welcome you in. And I'm going to start right now. Like, this is my action moment. So, welcome, everybody. Welcome back. It's good to see you here. As you know, how we start all of these programs after the last 4 weeks, we are going to start with a little embodiment, a little breath work, and we're going to just kind of shake off everything that we brought into the room that we don't need today. We are going to harken back to the days of playground play and the hokey pokey and things of that nature. I am going to invite you to stand up if that is what you want to do. You can absolutely do everything from your chair. Find what works for you. We're going to start with a big breath before we stand up, and then we're going to get into it. I am feeling a lot of things that I brought in, and so I need the breath, and I hope that it will be also helpful for you. We're going to take just a natural breath. We're going to breathe in and then hold it for a second and then breathe out. If you can lengthen your exhalation, that is what kind of regulates the nervous system and brings you kind of back to yourself. But don't feel like you have to stretch it or pull it or do something that feels super unnatural. I am going to raise my arms above my head. It feels like it opens me up better and it kind of triggers my mind to pay attention to what I'm doing. If that works for you, please feel free. If that doesn't work for you, it is not necessary. We've all been breathing for a really long time. So I think we kind of know how to do it. So again, just feel free to follow me. I'm going to take a big breath in. And then I'm going to hold it up here for just a second. And then I'm just going to go with a natural exhalation and try and drag it even just a beat or more than usual. And I'm just going to ask you to take a minute and see if how that feels in you. Automatically, my heart rate is slower and I'm more connected. Yes, take one more if that's what you need. I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to stand up now and we're going to get into our opening activity. And like I said, a little hokey pokey, a little just shake it off, but we're going to get into that place of fun. And I'm going to invite you to remember our agreements as we move forward. And those were to allow yourself and others a safe space and to participate with curiosity. Curiosity is key, I feel like, in everything that we're doing today. And also to be sensitive to the experience of others. And I completely believe that we will all do that and that we will enter in that way. So I'm going to try and adjust my camera so that I'm properly visual. Who even knows what's going to happen though, you guys? And I got to move my chair. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to ask you to just start really loosey-goosey. We're just going to shake one hand. I was going to say right or left hand, but I can't tell my right from my left. So just pick whichever one works for you and just shake it and take a minute and kind of feel like what that feels like. And imagine that frustrating meeting, that traffic that was way too long, the coffee that wasn't quite right, whatever it is that you brought in with you today, we're just shaking it off. And now we're going to do the whole arm. And note that that's a very different feeling, that whole arm. And we're just going to shake it for a second. And then once we feel like it's properly shaken out, just kind of let it relax. Notice how that feels. And we're going to do the other hand, whatever the other one was. I think this is my left hand. That sounds right to me. And we're shaking now the arm. And it feels different for me, each side. I don't know why that is. I have a friend who is an osteopath who tried to explain it to me one time and it didn't stick. But just notice what you're feeling. And then once we've done that a bit, kind of relax it. Another breath, maybe. Roll your shoulders a little bit now that you've done that. And just feel that looseness in there.
And now the part that gets a little tricky sometimes, we're going to shake our foot. I don't really know how to shake a foot without shaking a whole leg, but I'm going to do my best. And you can't see it, but you can see the wobble. So you know it's happening. And if you're sitting in your chair, I think you're winning on the shaking your foot situation. And if you're standing, that's good too. And now I'm noticing how that feels. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to do the other leg. This one is so much better. Fall over so much less on this leg. And I love it. And so I'm shaking it out. And I'm just letting go of what I brought in. Set that down. And now my favorite one, you guys, we're going to shake it all off. Everything. Whatever last bit is hanging on that we don't want to bring into this space, we're just going to let it go. We're just going to shake. And we're going to notice how that feels. Yeah, we got some good head shakes in there and some body shakes and some full body rolls. I love it, you guys. I love it. It's kind of inspiring. I'm following some of your movements as well. And then just let it go. Just relax and let it be. I hope that you kind of feel your body in a different way than you did before we started. I know I do. I can feel the blood flowing in my hands differently and just kind of throughout my whole body. And I feel a little bit more like I'm here. I'm not out here in the world doing everything that I need to do, but I'm connected back with myself. So I'm going to bring my chair back, invite you all to sit. My chair is very draggy. I need one with wheels, you guys. Okay. And we're going to take one more breath now that we're sitting down. I love Ping, you were shaking out in a forest up there. And so one more big breath in. And again, maybe our exhalation will be just a little bit longer this time. So one more in. Hold it for just a second. Maybe stretch it out and then exhale. I don't know about you guys, but I think I need to do that every day at noon. It's so good. Thank you so much for participating in that with me. And now we're going to hand it over to Bridget for an activity that I have actually been looking forward to doing for like a month. So here we go.
Thanks, Alexis. I'm glad you're excited. Me too. All righty. What are we doing today? Okay. What we're going to do in this exercise, or what I encourage you to do, is participate in what I call a daily ritual. And I categorize these into 4 parts: wake, eat, work, and sleep. And I'm going to have lovely cards to help us in case we need prompts in the middle of it all. But we're going to compose a sequence of choreography based on our daily rituals. We're going to have 4 individual movements, one for each of the categories. And these movements can be abstract, they can be representational, they should be dynamic, but simple enough to repeat. Repetition is our friend. And you always have the option to grab a prop. You can sit or stand, whatever you like. And one rule is to not take yourself so seriously. That's the only rule. And are you all open to taking suggestions? I'm certain you are. I think so. I think everybody's here to play. So make the positive choice rather than the negative, right? For example, wake up to the best day ever. Eat something really delicious. Work your dream job, or sleep, grateful for all that you have achieved. I invite you to stand now or sit, up to you. I'm going to stay seated. And yeah, please do your best to keep all movements within the screen, so we can see what's going on. And yeah, everybody looks like they're framed pretty well, kind of with belly button up, so we can still see your face and some of the expression, but you don't have to go too far with that. It's really about the body. Okay, you'll have a minute or two with each movement, so don't worry. There's no memorization really involved or necessary, because I won't know if you change anything, and I don't think Alexis will either. No one's grading you. But Alexis and I will demonstrate some things for you. We're going to demonstrate a movement for wake. Alexis is going to, you're going to do the representational, and I'm going to do the abstract, right? And so this is what wake might look like. Right? Simple enough. We can repeat it very easily. And we called that buttering toast. That was buttering toast for me, for Alexis. It's that simple, right? Let's do eat. I will be doing the representational and Alexis will do the abstract. That was picking an apple. So simple. So very, very simple, but feels really good to know that, like, I can imagine that apple. I know how big the apple is that I would pick. Do you know? I know how high it would be. I know the sound of it popping off the branch, you know? All of those things influence me in how I move. Work. I will do the abstract, Alexis, the representational. Yeah. They're cute. The switchboard operator, right? I think we all know what that is. I don't think that anybody needs to be educated on that in this group. And sleep. I'll do the representational and Alexis the abstract. Prayer. Very easy. Very expressive though still. And even, I mean, with actors, they're generally working within a frame. And so I think this proves that even within this frame, you can be fully expressive, which I think is stunning, gorgeous when they can really translate from the stage to the screen. Okay, so if what we've just done, we're going to keep demonstrating for you. If what we've just done is considered real time, we have options of double time or half time. Double time is twice as fast. Half time can be intentionally slow, but I won't say slow motion, but intentionally slow. Realistic. We have options of being realistic, like you saw us doing either representational or expanding and contracting that. So getting larger, not even necessarily with the movement or with your body, but with your expression would be expanding. And contracting would just be making something a little more intimate. We will go through all of this again as well. If you feel like what you do is like putting puzzle pieces together, sort of staccato or robotic, then consider flow, right? To pick the apple, to flow, you know? Can't see what it is really, but it's still in the same frame of mind. And I think those are sort of our options there. Okay, so I will have cards in case we forget, but we'll just go through this practice of finding our own movements for wake, eat, work, and sleep. We can go go our own way. Nobody's watching or anything. This is just to get those movements in your mind and in the space, and then we'll sort of add on from there. Yeah, there's no music. You just have your own way of going with things. And why doesn't everyone try wake first? What is your daily routine when you wake? Grab some sort of movement from that activity and put it in the space. Yeah. We'll have a few minutes for each. My movement is very slow, so I might change the pace. It's very flowy. I might change the style, make it a little bit more of a puzzle piece. Great. Simple enough to repeat. Not necessarily memorized yet. Lovely. Lovely. Very expressive. Oh my gosh, Chris, yes. Yeah. I'm loving it. Yes. Looks like it feels good too. Lovely. Okay. All right. Let's try eat. What is it to eat for you? How does it make your body feel when you eat something that's really delicious? You know, put that into the motion more so than the motion itself. Yes. Yes. Terry, I love it. You really do look so happy to be eating what it is you're eating. I see berries, maybe just berries. Alexa's cute. Yes. And try flowing with it. Try making it very abstract, very realistic. Change the tempo, the pace. Expand and make it very dynamic, or contract. Same energy, same intention going into doing the thing, but it just happens to be smaller. Yeah. Lovely. And what about work? Dream job. We want to put the dream job into the space today. Just in case work is stressing anyone out. Let's just choose to be something different today. You can think about the lines that you're making as well. There is a method in acting created by a man named Michael Chekhov, and he was known for psychological gesture and clown work. And he said that there are 3 types of actors, which really means there are 3 types of human beings, right? There's a stick, a ball, and a veil. And the stick is a thinker. If you look at someone who you consider a thinker and how they move, it's very rigid, very straight, lots of pointing, right? If you were to see the ball, it's somebody who's a doer, like a bull in a china shop, like they just do. Right? In a veil, I always think of Blanche Dubois, like a veil, very feeling. So the stick thinks, the ball does, and the veil feels. And you can be one of those. I think I can identify myself as one, but you can want to be another. And I believe that I'm a thinker that wants to be a feeler. So I do in order to feel. And whether or not I get there, I'm not sure, but it's definitely, I have a way that I move. It's very rigid, so sometimes I really have to be intentional about a flow, or an emotion in the way I feel rather than just a movement. And sleep. What is the ritual for sleep, or something from your ritual? You can try reversing it too. That's always fun, going backwards. Just another minute. Yes. Lovely. This is something we often do in Suzuki training, which is a Japanese performance technique. We will play like this, and then 2 people will get together in the space and combine their sort of chain of choreography, not knowing what the other person is doing, and ends up making a beautiful scene. It's just kind of magic that way. And I don't know if anybody's taking a moment to look on the screen, but it's happening even in these individual spaces as well. It really is. So what we're going to do next is try and link some of those together to make a sequence, right? From our wake to our eat, to our work, and to our sleep. And just give you a minute to do that. And just let your body memorize it, not so much the brain. Try and do that. But make it a flow from one to the next, one to the next. And like I said earlier, you can even do it in reverse. What is it like to take back your day? You know, take it back, claim it, it's yours. Right. Beautiful, but everyone using their hands. It's stunning, actually. Really beautiful. It's a miracle the way the smallest things are so expressive. It really is. You can bring that to a close for a moment. If you would like to grab a prop, if now would be a great time to do that. Anything. It could be the most random thing in the room. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. Oh, yes. 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 Okay. Now, I would like to invite you all to take a turn as, let's call it the director, right? So if we were all to go through this flow together, one person would like conduct us. You know, they would say, wake, eat, sleep. Okay, we're going to skip work, right? And they would say, double time and flow. And we would just let the director or the conductor side coach us through this experience, right? And it's just another way of getting to see the group moving rather than the group all seeing one person move, and seeing how these things complement each other, how these movements and how everybody's expression complements the other. I will often ask when I'm watching others move, where do I see me? Not even necessarily like, oh, what are they doing? Oh, definitely Ping's washing her face. That's for sure what she's doing. Maybe that isn't what I read. And really getting to know myself, where I am, the thoughts that come up for me like that are like, oh, I must want to go home and really just wash my face. And knowing that that's something that I can plan to do, that is in my control. It is absolutely manageable. And I get to achieve that. If I go home and wash my face, I get to say, wow, it's esteemable acts, the little things, you know? And I really do believe, sometimes I sing to myself in the morning, I'm making my bed today. I'm making my bed. It's the first esteemable act of the day. Like, I just get really excited about it. And I don't know, a little bit goes a long way, I think, anyway. And to help the director, I will hold up cards. Is it, can you read it? Yeah, right? It's big enough, right? And I'll read up, or I'll hold up these cards so you can sort of decide what it is you want to do, or what it is that our director said to do, right? Yeah, I think so. I think that can work. Alexis, do you want to be our first director so that you can demonstrate?
I would love to be our first director.
That's the scarf. It's the scarf.
I'm very excited that I have the scarf in my hand. I did not know I needed it, and apparently I did. Thank you.
So
Okay.
pick maybe 2 or 3 of the 4 movements.
Okay. I'm
Set
going.
our stage.
Okay. I'm going to pick that we are going to wake and then sleep, because why not? It's a full day, and we're going to do it halftime. I think we're going to do halftime.
Halftime. Wake, sleep, and halftime. Really luxuriate. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, we have needs, and those are waking and sleeping, and we are going to expand it.
Okay. Wake, sleep, in halftime, expansively.
With a flow.
I knew you were going to say that.
Of course you knew I was going to say that. I love a flow.
We're going to wake, we're going to sleep, we're going to do it halftime. We are going to do it expansively, and we're going to flow. And, this is our gift to you today, Alexis.
Thank you. This is all.
If at any point you want to change it up, you can side coach.
Okay.
We'll repeat it, maybe repeat your sequence maybe three times maybe.
Okay.
And if there's anything you want to see differently, let us know.
Okay. So
you can call action when you want.
I can call action when I want. I'm very excited about my scarf, you guys. I really encourage a prop, especially if that prop is a puppy, but I really encourage a prop. Okay, so we are going to start we'll do a 3, 2, 1 action, because I think that's a nice way to start things. 3, 2, 1. And we're gonna wake up in halftime. Oh, and expansively with a flow, and then we're gonna get ready and we're gonna sleep in our halftime. We're just gonna keep going at whatever flow works for you. And once we've reached the end of this flow, what if we did it very contracted, but still at halftime, and still with a wake and a sleep, and with a flow? So for me, that's very. We'll do a couple like that. And then once we reach the end of this flow, this section, I feel like I've done my good directorial debut.
Bring it to a close.
Bring it to a close.
What did you see, think, or feel in all of the doing?
In directing, it was interesting because I wanted to create a space that would feel as cozy as I wanted to feel. That was really the main, as the director. As the participant, I clearly feel like what my body needs today is a snuggle, because every movement I've chosen has been snuggly, even eating. So I'm noticing
really insightful
that I need a snuggle today. And if I have to snuggle myself, that's how it's going to go, because I'm always there for a snuggle.
Lovely. Thanks, Alexis. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to direct next? Thanks, Hillary.
All right, I will do eat and work.
Eat and work.
We will do double time.
Eat, work, and double time, sorry.
We will expand.
Work, double time, expand.
And I'm still trying to understand the puzzle piece. So we'll do that.
I love that. That makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense. I was trying to think of what is opposite of flow. And this was a new thing that we added in this time. What is the opposite of flow? And to me, it feels disjointed.
Yeah.
You know, like finding the piece and trying to find its place, you know. Yeah. But sharp, direct. Yes. Love, Chris. Love. Yes. Yes. Okay. So Hillary is going to do eat and work. Half time or double time? I forget now. Yeah,
Double
staccato.
time.
Double time.
Right.
Expand and puzzle piece.
All right. Are we ready? Well, in Dance for All, which is a program, here we do 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll introduce that. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Working with your puzzle piece, expanding. All right, now let's take a break and eat. You've got this. Oh yes, puzzle piece, expanding. Let's go to work. Yeah. Puzzle piece it and eat. And now let's go to double time work. I mean halftime work, double time work. So slowing it down and slowing it down with eating. And then find an ending. Beautiful.
Like some of the vocab
Thank
in
you.
there. Thank you for your language.
Hmm.
Was there anything that you identified with, related to, or did not, and were curious about?
I felt like that was the first time that I started to see this group.
Hmm.
Before this, I was very focused on myself and on my movements. And so I felt like for the first time, I got to really see Terry and Veronica and Laura and Chris and have these moments to like feel you and receive you. And I felt like very giddy and like joyful and bubbly seeing the fast movements.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much. Anybody else? Director Ping, please.
They felt that the double time of working and eating really felt like familiar to me during my day. And it was really a delicious process to slow that down, because that's really where the arc of my day, at the end of the day, I want to feel slower. And I realized that it was just a really nice way to reflect upon the way that I move during the day. So thank you very much for your directorial offering.
I love. What did you say there, Alexis? You're muted. I can't hear you, darling.
I was just noting the time to you, that's all.
The time.
Mhm.
Hiya. Anybody else like to direct? Yes, Laura.
Okay, I will try. Let's try wake, eat, sleep.
Wake, eat, sleep.
In halftime is going slower, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And doing that as a flow. I would love that.
Flow. Expand or contract? You don't have to.
I think we'd like to expand and contract during this.
Okay.
So things there's flows, so I think that'd be really fun.
Okay.
So try in slower time waking. and finding something to eat. And once you are full, getting ready to sleep. And reverse it. Come back from sleeping. What does it look like to eat in reverse? And to go back to waking. And then from this, wake again and start to go a little more staccato. Eat in tiny movements. And then going to sleep. Reverse it again in staccato. And wake. That was so neat. I hope you enjoyed that. I really like the flow of going back and forth.
Anything else? Did you pick up on anything that, like Ping had, that I need to do or I could take a second to do?
If I do that, especially when you're doing that contrast between the staccato and the more flowing, it starts to feel like breath. And sometimes I'll find myself holding my breath for no good reason. So it's nice. It's like, okay, I can just breathe a little longer. That's okay.
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you. We have time for more. Anybody else wants to mention or?
I can share. I noticed that so many of my movements were really from outward inward. And then when I reversed them, staccato, actually felt so much more energized. It like brought on my social system was more engaged going from inward outward.
Amazing. Alexis.
Actually came off mute and everything. Kind of piggybacking on the breath, I noticed how many of my movements were breath centered. And I also don't think that I take the time to really breathe and connect with my person a lot throughout the day. And so even thinking about going to bed, the main thing that I would think of in that sleep movement was take a deep breath and exhale the day. And it's like now going to start bouncing around in my head. Do you breathe? Do you connect to your own body throughout the day? And it's bringing to mind why this work is not just for actors, but for all people who have to put on a role every day.
Thank you, Alexis. Thanks.
Well, I just have to say that the first time I went to sleep in staccato, it kind of cracked me up. Okay, sleep.
Chris, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I there's two things I noticed. One is that I love the suggestion that Laura gave us to go backward, and it gave me the feeling of that kind of opening the perspective of possibility that wait, you can undo stuff. You can undo the stuff that you've done. You can, you can go backward if you wish. And I think it stops your brain from the typical neural pathway and kind of puts a little stop in there for a second. And also, I just want to say, just from that moment, I want to thank you all for your feedback because I sang opera professionally for 25 years. So I breathe everything. And every time I speak, every time I move is breath and movement. And it's easy for me to forget that that's not inherent. Like not people don't do that. For me, like when people are speaking, like in a public speaker, I will breathe with them. I'm just so used to doing that. And it doesn't cross my mind that that is something that gets held, you know, in people. So thank you all for your feedback for that, because that gives me something to consider when I'm working with people too.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you for participating and letting me lead today. That was really fun. And now my activity is at a close. And Alexis, it's over to you.
I have a very official closing question and answer, and we just did it. So you guys are clearly the advanced class. But I did want to give just kind of a last minute, if there were any curiosities or any noticings or anything like that that didn't get shared. I'm kind of, it kind of rocked my world just now, Chris, to be like, oh, there are people that just breathe. Like you had the perspective switch of there are people who forget to breathe. And now I'm like, some people just breathe. That's so, it's the smallest thing that can make me go, oh, that's right. We're not all having the same lived experience. And I so appreciate that. So just if you want to put it in the chat, I'm going to do my best to try and keep track. But if there are any last noticings, appreciations, anything of that nature.
I'd like to say that I would have really liked to see more people having their video on, to be able to see each other and the experiences of whether it's joy or discomfort, doesn't matter. It's a good teaching skill.
Thank you for sharing that. I think in this Zoom world, we're getting there. I hope that we continue to keep growing in this space too.
Well, I'd like to share my gratitude for those of you who were on screen, and also just to realize that I tapped into a little self-judgment at one point when it was reverse it. And I thought, oh, am I doing it right? Did she mean reverse it, like reverse the order, or actually reverse the movement? And I thought, okay, well, you welcomed us to do it any way we wish. So first I tried reversing the actual movement, and then reversing the order. And then I decided that just reversing the order was less stressful for me. So I did notice that I had that process. I wondered if anyone else also wondered the same thing or tried the same thing. Oh, Alexis.
Queen overthinker. And I really appreciate you sharing that as well, and recognizing that even as we choose to agree to enter into a space with very little self-judgment, that self-judgment, she's still loud and can get in there. And I think that it brings a lot of freedom for someone else to voice that they as well had to take a minute, take a beat. So thank you. I appreciate that.
I can also say you did a terrific job. It was great.
Thank you. Bridget's the hero, but thank you for that. And you had your hand up.
It's Vidhu, yeah. Hi. So I wanted to say that there's something for me around participating on Zoom in a physically embodied session that is just that is going to be recorded. I don't mind if it's not going to be recorded, but it really bothers me if it's going to be recorded on and for eternity on YouTube. So that to me is an obstruction, to be honest. I'd much rather be in a room with you. And, you know, I have a background in theater, and I'm sort of a recovering theater artist, recovering academic, and kind of fellow expressive arts facilitator. So it's really interesting to me, like around theater, I actually have a lot of judgments because I have so much history in it. So that, but I love movement and I love gesture and everything you did and all the humor that you brought was just delightful. And actually you re-inspired me to like go back to the theater because I kind of feel like it's an identity that's sort of receded a bit. So thank you, but that's my long ramble and just appreciate being here.
I can relate. Absolutely relate. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Nice
that.
to know I'm not alone in those thoughts and feelings.
I want to highlight one in the chat that was really relatable for me as well. And Amanda said, as a new mother who's home with my baby all day, every day, reason why my video isn't on, but participating in this helped me to be more aware of my movements and actions throughout my day. I hadn't ever slowed down, taken a breath, and thoroughly thought about my movement throughout my day. I really enjoyed this activity. Thank you. She says. And then Dan appreciated all the variations in style and said lots of other very nice things. Thank you so much for participating in the chat, you guys.
So, oh, Chris has her hand up.
I just wanted to share that I think it's interesting and fun in a way for us to all realize and appreciate that we don't really understand necessarily what somebody else's experiences are. I think most of you would probably assume that this is easy for me and that I'm a quote unquote natural. I'm on Zoom all day, every day, but this is extremely uncomfortable for me. It's something that causes my heart to pound on my chest. It causes me to feel anxious. That is the norm for me. And I have done lots of different things to get to the point where people don't see that my energy and my nervousness comes through in a positive and confident way. But I just want to share that in case anyone else assumes, oh, this person was not confident or this person was really confident. We actually don't know. Even just sharing for me, anytime in a group, my heart is just beating out of my chest. Like that is my norm, but you would never assume that. You would never see that in me. So it's just, I think it's always, I'm pointing to myself in this example, but I think it's always a great reminder of the fact that we don't know. We don't know. People would assume it's easy for me, but it's not. You know, so thank you for this experience. I love doing these because it challenges me to lead and to have that experience myself. And every time I do that, it feels better. So thank you both very much for the exercises and the facilitation. It was great.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to read this. It's amazing to me. One of the things that the entire C experience has done is to realize how deeply ingrained playfulness can be effective for everything. Vidu, I never would have thought this, but Vidu says, I see the potential of this work for mindful eating, working with tempo, for example, breaking patterns, going backwards and forwards. I'm having it's wild. So thank you for sharing that. Playfulness has changed my life, you guys. Or everybody. I'm so excited to have shared this time with you.
And before I hand the session over to Heidi, I just want to remark that many of us carry stuff in our bodies. The body remembers everything, whether we remember it cognitively or not. And so stuff gets stuck in our bodies. And for those of us who've had traumatic experiences, this kind of work can be extremely helpful for releasing it. Veronica.
I thought that this will be a really good way to do as a warm-up game, beginning of a group or halfway through the group, a group that is especially like emotional processing group, where everything is in the mind, and that kind of brings everything back into the body, and it really provides relief from stress. I don't know whether it is as Chris was saying, it is very uncomfortable to make a fool of yourself in front of everybody. But with that discomfort also goes a sense of joy to be part of the group that everybody's making fun of themselves in front of each other. And I think there is that sharing, there is a joining in that it's very powerful.
Thank you, Veronica. We are now going to wrap the session up. Heidi, take it away. Heidi,
Thanks.
oh,
Oh, am
there's
I
a
mu-
survey link in the chat bar, by the way.
Yes. Survey in the chat, and thank you all for joining us today. We'd like to extend our appreciation to Alexis and Bridget for presenting, and to the LA Arts Ed Collective, Flourish Agenda, and the LA County Department of Arts and Culture for their support of this series. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and thank you all again for joining us today.